University Hospital Foundation. Play 1, 2, 3, even 4 rounds of golf. Go tracksocialclub.com.
Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Join play-by-play announcer Ben Showman for the games live on Sports 1440. The Toronto Blue Jays are on Edmonton's home for all things sports. Sports 1440.
Hey, it's Jamie from Green Drop Lawn Care. They may be teeny tiny, but chinch bugs can completely devastate your lawn or garden. If you have yellowing grass that doesn't improve with watering, you may already have them. At Green Drop, we'll identify them, treat them, and help you recover from the damage before it's out of control. Stop chinch bugs cold with Green Drop Lawn Care, Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Find out more and get started at greendrop.com.
Lux Windows was founded in 1969 with 5 people and a dream. 55 years later, our team of experts cares a whole lot about building and installing the best possible windows and doors. Because Lux is not just an Alberta-made product. We're one big Alberta-made family. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Show. Off-season is here. Oilers need to kick out the jam starting now. Carolina Hurricanes win the Stanley Cup with help of a bunch of mathletes and Taylor Hall. A Knicks rule, Spurs drool, and the Jays bullpen hates the Blue Jays. And I don't mean maybe. Lowdown with Lowetide is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's riding season. I'm sorry. Get 0% financing up to 72 months on select new 2026 Sierra 1500 models. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. I couldn't find my mouse, so I went to the wrong thing. It happens. We're on Sports 1440 YouTube. Our headliner of the day, Jason Krueger at 1:20. We're live on sports1440.ca, iHeartRadio, and Radio Player Canada. After the show, Apple and Spotify podcast. We tweet it out on X. You can text or call us, 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and at JFenwick04. We're talking Hurricanes. We're talking Oilers. We're talking Slavin, and much, much more. NBA Finals, CFL, Jays, all straight ahead. Busy show. And maybe we'll get some breaking news involving the Oilers. Ya never know. All straight ahead. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's time for the introductions. If he drives north any more often, he's going to have to switch to diesel. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
I will not be driving north for the rest of the summer. As I was driving back down south yesterday, my car officially died.
Oh, I thought something worse happened.
No.
Cars can be replaced. Josh's can't be.
Cars can be replaced. 45 kilometers outside of Whitecourt. After 25 years of service and 200, I literally just crossed the 230,000 kilometer mark.
Right.
My car's motor gave out and blew a hole in the engine.
So do you pull it over to the side and get the auto record to take it?
Yeah, I pulled it over to the side. I was lucky enough that Nyla, 2 of her friends live in the city, left at the same time as me, essentially. I saw them in Valley View.
Oh, wow.
And so I was ahead of them on the highway, and they saw me pulled over on the side of the road and turned around and came and gave me a ride back to the city. I've not gotten confirmation that the tow truck has either grabbed my car or brought it back to my apartment, but I don't know yet.
Well, it's Are you going to throw a new engine in it, or are you just going to?
I'm gonna sell it for parts, whatever, $600 I can get, and today I'm going to get a new car.
Well, hey, right on, man.
New car, junker
look,
for the rest of the year. So also, if anybody listening to us is a mechanic who's willing to do an inspection for like a pack of beer or something, please text us.
Ladies and gentlemen, you will never get more inside radio than you are right now.
Because the tow is $1,200 and the new car is barely more than that.
Isn't there an auto records up there you could have towed it to?
No. So I called a tow truck. I called a couple different tow trucks, and they were all coming from Edmonton. And the way it works is I'm paying for them to go back. So might as well just have them taken to my apartment because it was the same price, whether I got it pulled into Whitecourt or pulled into.
So I'm going to bring in my empties tomorrow. That's about 400.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. All right. Well, that sucks, and I'm glad you're okay.
Sorry to take time away from the show with my sad story.
Now that basketball and hockey are over, he can drill down on the CFL and report on the 100-year-old quarterback who plays for the Rough Riders and is damn good. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody.
417 yards. Did you see that?
My God. It's like watching him when he was much younger. He's still there, man.
Oh, it's incredible. I am absolutely brimming with takes today. How could I not be? Stanley Cup Finals have Stanley Cup Finals for crowned champion. NBA Finals are over. UFC 250 Freedom was insane yesterday. CFL's rolling. But I want to start this introduction by doing something that I feel is necessary. And that is, for the second time in about 3 or 4 months now, is apologize to you, Lowetide. Because, and it wasn't all me, and Donovan was actually maybe
he's going to get his tomorrow.
He was even stronger with this argument, but we sat there and we sat across from you and we said, look, Carolina's a very good team, but they are a team that always gets near the top of the mountain but can't conquer it. They are the poster boys for getting to the conference finals and failing. I had said, I picked them to be in the Stanley Cup Finals at the beginning of the year. Now, granted, I had them losing to Edmonton, but it was always they can get there, but they can't do it. And you stood 10 toes down and you said, no, young boys, you might have called us young men, they can do it. And lo and behold, they have done it. And just same with the Evan Bouchard thing. I was clearly so wrong on this. You were so right. And I wanted to give you your flowers.
Well, you're very, very kind for that. Now, the Carolina Hurricanes winning is a big deal for me because for lots of reasons, not just that, you said what you just said and Donovan's at home writing a speech that I hope sounds the same tomorrow. But having said that, Taylor Hall won. Taylor Hall was the beginning of hope in Edmonton, and it didn't work out because Peter Chiarelli traded him. But I am very happy for Taylor Hall to win the Stanley Cup. And I loved what he said about Connor McDavid after winning Stanley. I'm also really happy for four individuals who were on this show at one time or another. Eric Tulsky, the GM, Tyler Della, AGM, Dennis King, and Cody Nicolette, both NHL scouts with the Carolina Hurricanes. They all won Stanley yesterday. Congratulations to all of them. But it's happened before. Tim Barnes won a Stanley Cup with the Washington Capitals. He was part of what we called the Logosphere many, many moons ago. And I think that I declared today on my blog that the war is over because as persnickety as the arguments got between mainstream media and the individuals who populated what we called the analytics and the blogs at that time, it got very contentious. But the argument was always, no, analytics won't replace everything, but analytics can be a great tool. And there was a lot of pushback, and there was a lot of denial, and there was a lot of simply, I'm not going to regard this information because I don't value you, so the information is no good at all. And last night in Carolina, I think for once and for all, that can be put to bed. The analytics folks, no matter how you took them, no matter how you felt they treated you, they had a point to make, and the point was made over and over again, and finally slammed with a fire of a million suns onto planet Earth last night. Carolina Hurricanes winning the Stanley Cup, doing it in a lot of different ways, but analytics was a part of it. They rolled 4 lines and 3 pairings. They marbled great talent in with younger players, the Hall line being an example. They did have impact players. Slavin was unbelievable, and Hall played out of his brain. He just did. And the one thing that I think is fitting about the Carolina Hurricanes is that it was difficult to choose the Conn Smythe winner. Stahl won it, but Hall could have, Slavin could have, Stankoven could have, and they got their goalie off waivers, and that's the ultimate analytics. So you can call it money puck, you can call it analytics, you can call it whatever you want, but it is an edge. It isn't everything, but it's a lot. And I think we saw that last night. Carolina Hurricanes were also in tremendous shape. I don't know what they do. Their players were rested because they roll 4 lines all year and 3 pairings, but they are also in premium shape. The last, I'd say 5 periods of that series, Carolina finally figured out Vegas, and then it was over. They played brilliantly, but they also got to more pucks more quickly. They contested every play. They're smart. They used their sticks effectively. They did not buy into the Vegas curmudgeonless style of play where they're being physical and playing outside the law. I think Hall got shivved maybe 5 minutes before he scored the goal, but he didn't react to it. He went to the bench, and he came back and he made them pay it another way. Outstanding. Congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes, all the people that I mentioned. I think it's a great day for hockey, and I'm hoping that a lot of teams, including the Edmonton Oilers, who have a brilliant analytics mind in Michael Parcati, continue to do the hard work, not just on the numbers, but on conditioning, on effective styles of play. I think if you watch that series, and certainly Game 6, the forechecking was brilliant. There was very little air available, much like what Florida did to Edmonton 2 years ago and last year. That's the way to play. You have to have players who can do that, and that means you can't have slow boots. No slow boots, and you treat every shift like it's your last one. Kerry has said that this morning, and I thought it was a great line. Gentlemen, anything to say about Carolina Hurricanes winning the Stanley Cup?
Well, listen, tremendous accomplishment. Like the Stanley Cup finals, the Stanley Cup, I should say, is the hardest trophy to win in sports, or at least in pro sports. Like I think the NCAA tournament isn't always necessarily conducive to being the best team. But when you look at what hockey is and the grueling 7-game series you have to go through, and just how much can kind of be impacted by whether it be obviously injury or goalie voodoo, like whatever it is, things need to break right. And it's the toughest trophy to win in sports. And I obviously I understand the value of analytics, and they certainly have a place in sports. I've always been one to say I don't think it can replace the eye test. I think it needs to be used as a tool. Still feel that way. But when you look at the Tyler Dellos and the Tolskis, like you mentioned, and the way they built this team and constructed this team and what they did, it is such a testament to sticking to your guns. And like one thing I've always kind of thought of, because we always talk about this Hurricanes team as not having a superstar, and Sebastian Aho, like obviously he didn't win the Conn Smythe or anything. He was, fine. He wasn't great. But whenever it comes up with Sebastian Aho, people are always like, yeah, he's good, but he's not that good. And so for him to finally kind of reach the pinnacle of the mountain as, not that he was the best player in the playoffs, but as the quote unquote best player on this team, huge for him, for everyone on that roster, like Jacob Slavin, who plays the game the right way, Taylor Hall, who has been through it and has been on how many teams since he's won his Hart Trophy, Jordan Stahl, who ends up getting it as the longest, like the Jalen Chatfields, the Brandon Bussies, who came in the way he did, like all of these guys. I don't want to call them an island of misfit toys, but there's an element of that in parts. And so for them to come together and win this ultimate trophy, just incredible stuff. They deserve their flowers. Very happy for them as an organization.
Shout out to all the analytics haters, Declan. I'm just kidding.
I've never hated analytics.
No, I know. But I think the funniest part of all of this, like, all the credit in the world to the Hurricanes. They were absolutely dominant through this entire postseason. Brandon Bussey to come in relief in game that was 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Come in relief and then just be nails. End the series with a shutout. Fantastic. Jordan Stahl, amazing player. I still don't think he gave up a goal against the opposing center whenever he lined up against one through the entire playoffs.
It's amazing.
Which is absolutely absurd. I mean, like, it is, the goals for and against for that line is absolutely wild. In reality, the Conn Smythe should have been given to their Taylor Hall, Logan Stankoven line, because I think they outscored every line in the playoffs. They are absolutely unbelievable. But the funniest part of this whole win is people like my dad and all these other old bloggers on Twitter they're now reposting each other's posts of threads of people saying that like, oh, Money Puck will never work.
Yeah, it's true.
Money Puck will never work.
And, I was there at the beginning when the mainstream media met the bloggers and the guys who were comfortable coming on air or wherever. And it disintegrated in a heartbeat. There's a truth about media in that a lot of people went to very, very expensive schools and learned how to write for media, become journalists. And a lot of people came up through the coaching ranks or the scouting ranks or the broadcast ranks. And all of a sudden, guys like Lowetide were writing on a blog and it was taking eyeballs away from other places. And my blog was not strictly an analytics blog. The MC79, River and Oil Fans, those are the ones where the real innovations were happening. But we were like I would say a satellite blog to that, where people could talk about what was going on in those other blogs. And it was an education for me, but I also think that the approach that was taken was one of negativity and protecting. And I think it ended up being a 20-year war when it could have been a 5-minute war. It still goes on. Manny Machado, a wonderful baseball player, recently said, I sure wish we could get analytics out of the game, implying that if he could, he'd be hitting better. He's hitting 175. I think the problem isn't analytics. I think the problem is Manny Machado. But the good thing is the war is over. There's no reason now to say anything other than analytics, mathematics can contribute to winning. It's not everything. You still need scouts who can find players. You still need coaches who can coach them up. All of those things are true. You still need to be able to manage a cap and not trade all of your draft picks every year. By the way, Carolina has 340 prospects and 1,008 draft picks. So they won and they can continue to win again. It's a great template. The Oilers aren't going to go that way until the Connor McDavid era is over. But next time when they're drafting first overall, maybe they'll have room for a little more analytics in their life because it was in their backyard. The holy trinity of 2014 Leon Draisaitl, hiring Dello later that summer, and then the 2015 lottery win could have sent this team into an orbit that nobody could catch. And it didn't happen. Why? Because of bias, because looking past, and because not admitting that you are failing to admit that you are not the smartest person in the room is the most difficult thing on planet Earth for people. And that's what we had. Now, we can look forward to the Edmonton Oilers and Michael Parkatti, who's a very big brain, having free reign. But if it happened a decade ago or 12 years ago, this Oilers team would be having a different conversation, and I think they'd have at least one Stanley, maybe more. Okay, on the way, we blew through the entire segment, and I'm not surprised. But there are other things to talk about, including the Edmonton Oilers offseason, which begins now. We'll talk about that throughout the day, including next NBA Final, CFL, Jays, all straight ahead. Before we take a break, very quickly, question for both of you. When do we get the first breaking news, and on whose show, about the Edmonton Oilers and their first big move, and what is the move? Declan.
Oh, great. Tried to jump the gun there, Josh. Great question. I will say the breaking news comes tomorrow on this show, and it will be Darnell Nurse trade being finalized.
Hope springs eternal for this show. Josh?
I will also go Darnell Nurse traded Thursday morning on the Carrier show.
I think that's more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I will go Tuesday, 3/18. And the trade is Nurse to the Flyers for Sealer.
All right.
And I will be at my house and I will say, see, we never get any breaking news.
I'm just making sure that we get this as a clip for later.
Yeah, well, I'm not right about these very often, but we'll see. Okay, fun show on the way. Jason Gregor at 120. You've got Mama MMA at Declinations at 140 today?
Yes, UFC 250 Freedom last night. Unbelievable event. I can't wait to break it down. And you know what? The other thing is, normally with these segments, I kind of dance around. I'm just going to go for it this time.
Okay, are you going to blow through it? I will say this, that the NBA final ended, and I wish I had all the clips from the beginning of the year that Knicks were mentioned until we realized what they were. And you guys were ahead of the game by a little bit, but the Knicks are such a great story that it was very difficult, and a lot of us didn't catch it until it was too late. You guys were ahead of the curve. The rest of us are just catching up now. And New York looks like it didn't burn down, which is just awesome, and we're very proud of you, New York City. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
The perfect place to host your golf tournament or fundraiser, company event, celebration of life, wedding, birthday party, or private party. Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. More than a golf course, a fun, welcoming place with beautiful views, relaxing patios, and a team that truly appreciates each and every guest. Featuring Out of Bounds, Cattail's 5-star kitchen. Some say it's the best clubhouse dining they've ever had. Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. Book your tourney or event today at cattailcrossing.ca.
With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, good to go.
Do you have neck or back pain? Ever go for treatment hoping for a simple fix only to realize your stubborn spine is basically a science project with attitude? Hey, we get it. And honestly, we're a little sorry because great rehab does take proper experimenting. But at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we don't just toss exercises into the beaker and hope it doesn't explode. We start with the right diagnosis, then mix hands-on care, precise manual therapy, and evidence-based technology. The formula your body actually needs. Science and skill with gratitude, not attitude. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
Mr. Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know. You've done well, Mr. Rooter. You did something awful, but you've covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of Christian school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Rooter.
That's how concrete products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 Sierra 1500 models at visit wolfgmcbuick.com. A lot going on today. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to begin it with rumors brought to you by Harley Davidson of Edmonton. It's riding season, and Harley Davidson of Edmonton has your next bike waiting. Huge selection of new and pre-owned, plus test rides available, locally owned and operated since 1980 on the Yellowhead Trail or hdedmonton.com. Great story. Drop by and talk to them. Ask how Ken ended up with the dealership and why it's such a rocking good time there, no matter when you go by. All right, we're going to talk a lot about the NBA final here in CFL, but I want to just paint a real brief picture for those. There's a lot of fans of Taylor Hall who are very happy today. And I think it's a good time to reminisce about what he meant to this organization in maybe January of 2010. The legend has it that Daryl Cates, the owner of the team, said, "Why don't we rebuild?" And as soon as he said, "Why don't we rebuild?" they traded off some players and they looked to the draft. And the 2010 draft ended up being Taylor Hall's draft, and the Oilers drafted number 1, and he became Hope, the H in Hope, with Omar Hayarvi and Jordan Eberle. And really from 2010 until he was traded in 2016, he was central to the fan base. He was much loved, and the controversy over the trade, the trade is 1-for-1, as Bob McKenzie famously tweeted, had a major impact on this fan base. And in many ways, I don't know that it's the fan base, at least some portions, have forgiven the Oilers for it. At the time, it was implied that they wanted to give Connor McDavid free reign. It was his team. But in actuality, they traded an impact player. He would win a Hart Trophy and now a Stanley Cup. And it is absolutely a lesson in not trading elite talent. You can always acquire a third-line center. You can always acquire a second pairing guy. The Carolina Hurricanes picked up the Stanley Cup winning goalie on waivers. But guys who are difference makers, who can push the river, they're very rare. Trading them, bad idea. And the fact that they traded Jordan Eberle as well really kind of, I think, tarnishes the Edmonton Oilers and really puts them in a light that is unfortunate over the last 16 years. It doesn't mean the next 16 years have to be the same way. But the question I have is, have the Edmonton Oilers learned? Well, they haven't traded anybody like that since, so that's good news. But there will come a time when they're drafting again, and they're drafting high again, and they're rebuilding. And I do think that there were lessons to learn, not just from the Edmonton Oilers and what went wrong in those years, but also for a team like Carolina, who have great oodles of talent bubbling under. They can trade from that, or they can elevate players as others are lost through free agency, or if the performance of the prospect warrants it. And they've got a bunch of draft picks, too, that they can trade or keep. It's a much better way of doing business. It's a better mousetrap. The Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup, but they're winning in life in the National Hockey League, too, because they've got a full boat of prospects, and their scouts aren't just driving around the sorry roads of winter with no draft picks in their back pocket. The Oilers have a flawed model, and it's badly flawed on a day like today, when the Carolina Hurricanes kicked everybody's ass, won the Stanley, and still have enough torque in prospects and picks to do business moving forward. Kind of shameful, really. But I'm very happy for Taylor Hall, and I think that Taylor Hall has a lot of fans in Edmonton who are thrilled about his win. And I'm absolutely, I never doubted that he would win a Stanley Cup, but it's a little bit difficult that he won it against the team that beat Edmonton in 2006. But we will endeavor to persevere. We haven't talked very much about Darnell Nurse and the Oilers, trade plans in the next little while. We can tell you that Jackie Spiegel of the Philadelphia Inquirer says that Philadelphia is believed to be on the short list of teams that Nurse will waive his trade protection to go to. We talked about them in last segment very briefly, about some of the players that they might want to move. Like if they're acquiring a lefty and Darnell Nurse on the defense, they might want to move out, one of those lefties that they have now. The Oilers don't want to take on a lot of contract. So I think somebody like Nick Seeler might fit. It depends. If the Oilers say, okay, the 9.25, we'll take on 3 of that. So it's 6.25. I think they'll get a better player. But then when you go to market and free agency or make a trade for a player, you may not be able to fill in with the guy you want. I feel like the target should be somebody like Jordan Kyrou. I think it's 8.125. So if you trade Nurse and retain, say $3 million, that gives you 5 towards that number, and it's a little easier to go. But they've got some options. We'll wait and see what happens. I don't think it'll be long before you see some trades. Really, I don't. The other thing to talk about with the Edmonton Oilers is the coaching situation. Chris Johnston on the weekend, or at least late Friday, said it was his belief that the people he was talking to people who felt like Mike Babcock would be able to proceed and become the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. So that's something of interest, and we will follow. And as soon as we get an update, we'll talk to Jason Krueger about Nurse and about Babcock coming up at 1:20 today. But nothing really has changed, and it's gone really, really quiet on the coaching side. Now that the Stanley Cup has been won, one would imagine that we'll see some action. A lot of questions today about what Vegas will do. Maybe they don't keep Tortorella. That's the word. They've got Cassidy. Maybe they won't let any of their coaches interview for jobs. I'm not sure how that would work. But Vegas definitely, with Gary's permission, is holding all the cards in terms of the coaching and who might get a job. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. Not a lot from Toronto either in terms of head coach. And I would think that they might be waiting for Cassidy. Oilers hire Babcock. Vegas goes, okay, you can interview now. And he goes to the Eastern Conference. That's probably their preference. We'll see. Just a theory. All right, boys, I want to let you loose on the NBA. New York Knicks. My goodness. What a story. There was, before the playoffs started, it was like maybe the Knicks get out of it, they're not going to win. And then slowly but surely we started to believe in this room. Is that fair?
I have so many thoughts in regard to what you just said. It probably took it probably took into the Cleveland series when they had that comeback in
22 points in the fourth quarter. Yeah,
yes,
game one,
game
7
one,
minutes left.
That was when I think everyone started to think like, wow, they can maybe actually do this. There's so many things I want to say about this. The first one is, and I'll try and make this quick. I hope I don't take more than a couple minutes. All the credit in the world to the Knicks, because in large part, this was not a team people thought were going to win an NBA championship. And, Jalen Brunson's too small. You can't lead it with him. Your two best offensive players have such defensive deficiencies. Like there were just a bunch of things that went into this Knicks roster not being good enough. But what I think it came down to, and the reason the Knicks are champions right now, is you look at, Karl Anthony Towns, who's been in the league a decade plus, and you look at Jaylen Brown, who's been in the league for a good amount of time now, the Josh Harts, the OG Anunoby, who'd obviously been a championship before, Mikal Bridges, whoever it may be. Like, this was a group of veteran guys who had been together and kind of been through it together, who were ready to be champions. And the San Antonio Spurs were not ready to be champions. And people talk about, well, the Spurs were a better team for a lot of the games, and quite bluntly, the better teams closed game. That's what the Knicks did. The Spurs, I have a fun stat here. They led every game of the series by double digits after the first quarter. They led 3 games going into the fourth quarter and were tied in another, and they led every game at some point in the final 4 minutes. Oh, by the way, they lost 4-1. And the better team comes together and closes games, and that's what the New York Knicks did. So all the credit and all the flowers to them. Jalen Brunson, I still think he's probably the second best Knick of all time behind Willis Reed, because he's got the 2 rings, 2 finals.
Oh, you
MVPs.
think he's past Patrick Ewing already?
Yeah.
All right.
You won, man. No, I'm not trying to discredit Pat Ewing. You had the 94 finals. You kind of had the 99 finals, if you want to count that.
Kinda.
But Jalen Brunson won. And Patrick Ewing never did that. Different era, Mike, whatever. Jalen Brunson won. But my thing for this, the bigger story, is Mitch Johnson and De'Aaron Fox. And Mitch Johnson was in so over his head as a coach. Like, it was game planning error after game planning error. It was failure to adjust in game after failure to adjust in game. I was talking to Josh about this during the break. At the end of the game, after the offensive rebound on OG's free throw, the shot clock resets to 14, not 24, and Mitch is calling for the foul, when really you could have played defense, forced them to get a shot, hopefully get a rebound with 9 seconds left, have a chance to send the game into overtime. His usage of De'Aaron Fox over Dylan Harper, who was taking over games, like that spurs into another thing. What do you do now? Because De'Aaron Fox is a guy who, like I've talked about, is getting paid $230 million over the next 4 years, and he is not as good as Dylan Harper. So you either need to move that albatross of a contract for De'Aaron Fox so you can give Dylan Harper these minutes, or you're going to unfortunately probably have to move Dylan Harper for a true wing or like legit power forward that can play alongside Wemby. They are in a good spot and an enviable spot with their young talent, but they're also in a spot where there are serious changes to be made here. Like, they need to figure out this backcourt with those 3 players they have. They need to figure out, like, Josh isn't in favor of firing Mitch Johnson.
Yeah, Declan and I are going to get in an argument right now.
I think Mitch Johnson needs to be fired because he was the interim coach last season, losing record. That's whatever. You don't really chalk it up to much. Coach 77 games, 62-20 this year. But every single step of the way, when you needed him to make the right decision in the playoffs and in the finals, you know what he did? He made the wrong decision in the finals. And it's everything. Like, Josh, if it was just he's not putting out the right lineups, that's one thing. But you don't have the right game plan. You don't. No set plays out of the top. Like, it's everything. Congrats to the Knicks.
I just want to briefly say, and then I'll let you have your say.
Sure.
Isn't it kind of hard to walk away from him based on the success they've had?
Yes, it is.
I don't think it is.
Sort of like Knoblauch.
So that's a point I brought up to Declan in the break when we were talking. I was like, if you let go of Mitch Johnson, you begin the Edmonton Oilers, basically. That's what you're turning this into.
And it was a good point. It was a good point by Josh.
Like, it's his first full season behind the bench. I know that he took over really early for Pop because he had a stroke last year, and it was very unfortunate. But you got to be able to give him time to learn also, because he is a young head coach. I get it. Coach of the Year finalist. He made all the right calls going into the finals, and simply, I think the lights were too bright for him. They're a young team through and through. And so I think you have to be willing to give Mitch Johnson a few more seasons, or until the next time they go back to the final. If you go back to the final and he makes all the same dumb mistakes that he did this year, then we can have a real conversation about him not being the coach. But for now, I think you got to ride with the guy that got you 62 wins, ended your 7-year playoff drought, and coached you to the NBA Finals in a 7-game series against the defending champs, who you beat to play the New York Knickerbockers. You just got to learn to hold on to a lead. That's all. Wemby has work that he has to do this offseason. He's got to find, as Bill Simmons would say, his move. He's got to get a move, one that he can go to reliably every time. Tim Duncan had the bank shot, Kareem skyhook, Michael Jordan fadeaway. But credit to the New York Knicks, and more importantly, credit to New Yorkers for not absolutely burning down the city. It was clean by like 8 a.m. Lowetide. They were helping Knicks fans were helping the sanitation department do like their garbage routes and stuff. To be fair, they did destroy like 12 school buses or something, and someone did get shot. But honestly, way more tame than I thought it would be. For a city of
however many million.
Yeah, that's a pretty good ratio there. There was an Empire State of Mind in the streets. Like, the videos were super fun to watch, aside from like the very clear property damage to all of those school buses, which was crazy.
Yeah. I don't know why school buses get a bad rap. CFL weekend. How many classic games have we had already? It feels like they played 6 and 4 of them have been great, like beyond great. I love it. I do. Now, Saskatchewan, we expect them to do well, but that game was in doubt. Have we had a real blowout?
Not yet. No, I don't think.
And they're great games. Everybody's in it till the end. I think we've got parity. That's good news for the Elks. Maybe not so good news for Declan's favorite team, the Rough Riders, but they came out with a great win. I was very impressed with the Rough Riders on the weekend.
It would be very strange. Now, granted, it does happen quite often, but like, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around a 9-team league where there isn't like parity. There's 9 teams.
Oh, but there's been great.
Oh, I know there have been like great teams, and there have been some spectacularly bad double E teams.
There's 5 and 11 teams that have been in the Grey Cup, and we're ahead at halftime.
Magical. That's parity right there. That's anybody can win.
Man, I'm telling you.
But yeah, no blowouts. This is all like Hamilton won by 10 points. And I think that's the largest margin so far. Yeah.
Now, is Declan able to talk about the CFL, or is he busy?
He's typing up a storm over there. I'm just.
Right. It's okay. He doesn't have to talk.
He's sending a text to someone about why Mitch Johnson should be, in fact, be fired.
Somebody's wrong on the internet.
This is the thing. Like, I didn't have time to go into it, but it's like I just think I know the intricacies of basketball a little bit better and it's like.
So he's stupid.
No, I'm not.
He's calling me stupid.
I'm not saying I know basketball.
The producer of Hoop City, and he's calling.
Are you becoming Donovan on this show? Like, you know?
No, but it's just like Mitch. This is my thing and I think like if someone was going to try and talk, like if I was listening to someone about polo or cricket, I would like. There's no way I can say this without sounding like an absolute asshole, so I'm going to shut my mouth.
Just say it.
No, it's just like I
just
think,
call him dumb.
No, because it's not
already
dumb.
have.
It's not dumb. No.
Never mind.
All right. Have I offended him?
Yeah, he definitely looked a little upset. Oh well.
Speaking of offended, I'm offended by the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop bringing him in. He's got a life. Why can't he live? He's like, blame somebody, blame Fluharty or who else got lit up in that game? Was it Nance?
Yes.
Come on. Hoffman's a good man. Golly. If you don't have a bullpen, why do you bother playing the first 7 innings? Just, we're gonna wait for a while. Just gonna play amongst ourselves. We'll forfeit the game. Jays, man, this is awful. The division isn't there to be won, but it's there to be contended for. And you got to be a little bit better than that. A little disappointed in our CFL moment there. I thought it would be a little bigger.
Well, maybe later in the show.
Well, someone's wrong on the internet.
It's the way it is.
One day he's going to come over here with a giant 2x4, and it's going to be.
I'm not going over there to save you. He might hit me first, but
yeah. Well, I mean, if he pays you, you need a new car. So if he offers you time and a half, you got to think about it, right?
There's no thinking about it. I'd be like, blind eye.
All right. We have fun. Not right now, but there are times when we have fun on the show. And we'll hopefully get back there very, very soon. Krueger at 1:20. We also have Declination's Mama MMA at 1:40 today. On the way, though, we're going to read your text, and it's going to be mostly about the Oilers, but I have a bad feeling the NBA is going to slip in too. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com. Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
Are you a skilled laborer? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience, All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Join play-by-play announcer Ben Shulman for the games live on Sports 1440. The Toronto Blue Jays are on Edmonton's home for all things sports. Sports 1440.
Get ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band. Monday, November 30th at Silent Ice Center in Nisku. The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Monday, November 30th at Silent Ice Center in Nisku. Tickets on sale now at silenticecenter.com. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit japaequipment.com or stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Love that song by the Bangles. Prince was such a great songwriter, man. Top drawer. All right. Just so you know, this show is completely off the rails. We got one guy shopping for cars and another guy who is firing NBA coaches who were recently in the final. So just so you know, your workplace might have a lot of chaos. So does mine. Norman at Combine literally just drove by Craig Berube's family home. No orange and blue smoke coming from the chimney. Did you know he's from Calahoo? Yes. Very successful NHL coach. I believe they talked to him, right? I hope today, after today, NBA talk is over from Billy. No, Billy, the most exciting offseason on planet Earth is the NBA offseason. I love loud noises in the offseason, and the NBA is through the roof. I mean, there are guys they're talking about leaving. You know, this guy's going there, but it's the guys we don't even know about yet, who are one day going to wake up and say, yeah, you know, I always wanted to play on the coast. And then that just snowballs into something else in the NBA. Tell me there's a more ridiculous offseason than the NBA.
It will be my personal mission to ensure that today is not the last day we talk about the NBA, especially because literally in 2 weeks, the draft is going to happen. And that's like, there's a lot of people. The first overall pick is not confirmed yet. Darren Peterson only took a meeting with the Wizards, who have the first overall pick. Little ballsy by him, have to say. Especially when he was subbing himself out of games in Kansas. Very interesting move. And then free agency is the night of Canada Day. 6 hours after.
So wait a minute, we're going to be here doing the Canada Day.
No. We're doing the NHL one, and then
but we're doing the NHL one, and then when we go home, the
that's
NBA
when the NBA one will start. I believe it is 6 p.m. Mountain time. I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern time.
NBA just does things cooler. We're like we do everything for the old people. We got to start at 10, and we get it done at 1. The NBA's like, why don't we start things at midnight? That's a good time.
Hey, Kawhi Leonard signed with the Clippers at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and Paul George got traded to the Clippers, I think like 12 minutes later.
Wow, wild. Lowetide, what did Hall say about McDavid? I must have missed it. What do you think about what he said? Muscat Clay. He said, no one deserves to win a Stanley Cup more than Connor McDavid. They were roommates first year, 15-16, before Peter Chiarelli traded Hall. And I just thought it was a nice touch, you know? Kind of a, show of support. You may recall last year in the Stanley Cup Finals, the Florida Panthers were reportedly most unkind. And I think that it's nice to know that class does exist. Not like class is in upper class, lower class, but all class does exist. Just reading Declan's missiles here.
I just skimmed through it entirely because I know it's the same conversation him and I have been having for the last week.
What did Nostradamus call them? Quatrains? That's what we're reading here.
I believe the word you're supposed to use for this is manifesto.
Oh.
Like the Unabomber.
Is he looking at me funny again?
No, he's laughing at the text line.
Okay, good. All right. I'm glad. I think the Oilers will add Howard to a deal before they'd retain on Nurse. No room for Howard in a top 6 role, and he's too small for a checking line. Northside Lou. I think that he's in that point. I think he's going to be a player. Everything I've heard about him is that, they sent him down to the AHL to improve on in some areas, and he did. I think he's going to be a bona fide NHL player. I think he can score. I just don't know if it's going to be with this team. They got a new coach coming in. If it is Mike Babcock likes, he loves his checkers. Like he loves guys who will go forecheck, work really hard, and then get back to the bench, like Dan Cleary, those guys. And so those are less expensive than the goal scorers, but if you don't have them, like I think Colton Dach and Trent Frederick, if he's healthy, and Szymanski, if he makes the team, those are guys he can use, and Nuge is so smart, he'll be able to play him. I think Kapanen might be a guy who's got a place here. I don't think Jack Roslovic would have a place on a Mike Babcock team. I do think Jake Wallman might have a hard time doing what's asked of him on a Mike Babcock team. I like him a lot. I hope he does make it, but the defense has to do a lot, and Wallman has to stay healthy. That'll be the key for him. If he's healthy, I'm less worried about Wallman. Does Billy want to listen to the Oilers coaching candidates every day all summer? This is from AA Ron. Does he know this is sports show, not a hockey show? Stop rage baiting Declan. It's kind of the show. They do it to me, Hate to play that card, but they're all over me sometimes. And we even pick on Josh, which is unfair because he's barely 20.
What? I'm 22.
Did you hear his voice? It cracked.
Intentionally.
My point stands. Yeah, but look, they're going to name a coach very soon here. Like I don't know in any world, unless Vegas says today, Cassidy can talk to everybody he wants. Jeez, we're just teasing. Unless that happens today, then I wouldn't count on it if I'm the Oilers. And I think Mike Babcock, if he coaches the Oilers, will have a really good first year because there'll be the dead cat bounce, and he really is a guy who's going to impact the way they play defensively. There's going to be a lot of restrictions. Going to be very strict adherence to forechecking, getting back, making sure you're in the play, get that stick in there, make it difficult for the pass to be made. All of those things. And I think the Oilers will probably respond. The other thing is, if Mike Babcock's the coach, then they're going to be ready. They're not going to, this team for years now, the opening day, their opening game, they're like, well, we're not sure about our defense. We got 8 guys, and I don't know. Not really sure. We'll play a few games and we'll see. And then they're like, they start 1-4, and everybody's like, what's wrong? Well, why don't you be prepared? Why don't you make a decision, send everybody down, and for the last 3 games of the preseason, play your team? Here's an idea. Have yourself ready. The Oilers don't do that. And I think it's a big disadvantage. I think teams like Calgary Flames know it, and they are absolutely ready for the opening salvo. You guys watch a lot of World Cup?
I've watched here and there. I watched a little bit of Germany's drubbing yesterday, so that was impressive. But and I watched a little bit of the Curacao game. I've just caught it in bits and pieces. I missed the rest of the Canada game because I was driving.
Well, you weren't driving. You were beside the road.
No, I was driving. I made it to Peace River fine. It was getting back from Peace River that was a struggle.
Was there any sign? Did an idiot light go on at all? Or
no. So I was going up a hill, and then I could hear the knocking, and I went, oh no. And then you could tell the RPM started to go down. I was like, this really isn't good. I don't think I'm going to make it to the top of this hill.
Did blue start coming out the back?
No. My car got immediately filled with exhaust.
Oh.
It went clunk, and I went, uh-oh. Hopefully everything's okay, and then just blasted me with exhaust. I had to roll down the window, hit the hazards. Luckily, there was no one immediately right around me because it's not a very busy highway.
You were Jim Carrey.
Yeah. And there was a thought in my mind where I was like, I could not find a place to turn off to and actually turn off because I didn't want to pull over to the side of this highway because
it's a highway.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, could I make it to Whitecourt? And I got up to the top of the hill and I looked at going down a hill and back up and I went, nope, I cannot. And luckily there was probably a private road.
Nice.
So I pulled off and I wrote a little note that said, broke down, toe on the way, don't worry.
Having a big cry
Please,
in the ditch.
please don't take this, because I realized I forgot to put my phone number there. So, and my golf clubs are in the trunk. So if that car gets towed, I'll never see those golf clubs again.
Dallas says, I saw a headline, maybe Nurse isn't the only core player to be moved. I pray to the good Lord that it was referencing Nugent Hopkins. I think there is a need to offload some of the 30-plus guys. I would very much doubt it was Ryan Nugent Hopkins. I think as a third-line center, he's fine. He can penalty kill, power play. I think they need, you need a third-line center. Nuge signed a contract that basically was, his I'm spending my career here in Edmonton contract. And I think that both sides kind of valued that. No great player, Nuge is a great player, has spent their entire career in Edmonton. And I think that will be his legacy, hopefully with a Stanley. But I think that it's fair to say he won't be in the feature role that he has been in the past. I think Savoy's got his job on left wing on the McDavid line, and we'll see. But I'm all for the Edmonton Oilers getting younger at lots of different places. Getting younger doesn't mean getting worse. Think about the future of this show as an example. Hey, Gregor, do you think the Oilers are asking the NHL for Vegas to let them know if they'll ever be able to talk to Cassidy? Well, Gary has shown he's not going to be, interfering in this. And so they can ask, the Oilers can, but either the NHL has a deal in place where they're going to give back the pick and some of the money if they give up this concerned idea that Cassidy can't coach, or this will last until, the contract runs out. Trying to predict billionaires and what they're going to do is a loser's battle, or trillionaires for that matter. They have no realization of what normal people go through. And so they can be petty or they can be brilliant. And chances are they'll be both in a single day, but you can't predict it. People are giving you hell for not checking your oil.
I did check my oil.
Well, of course you did.
Check it every 1,000 kilometers. I definitely did not do that because I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Just had it changed. Whatever.
It
doesn't leak oil, or it didn't leak oil until yesterday.
When did you have it changed?
Right after my first trip to Peace River.
Okay, how long ago was that?
A month ago.
Oh, you should be fine, man.
It
if it's not leaking, is there, like when you drive away from a parking spot, is there a bunch of oil there?
No.
Well, then what?
It was in great shape. Hey, you know what? Sometimes just stuff happens.
Well, it's also like I've seen your car. No disrespect, it was an older car.
It's 25 years old.
Right.
So it was on this planet 3 years before I was born.
Right. So it's, relatively speaking, it's an older car. It doesn't owe you any money. Well, it does from the tow, but that's not its fault. All right. On the way, Jason Gregor will join us at 1:20, and we'll have Declanation's Mama MMA straight ahead as well. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
The Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Elks Nation. For the best Elks coverage year-round with podcasts and articles, go to elksnation.ca. Player interviews, game analysis, and more. Best green and gold coverage online. It's elksnation.ca. World Cup scores from earlier today. Spain and Cabo Verde tying 0-0 in their match out of Atlanta. Next up on the dock in about 2 minutes here, it'll be Belgium and Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Uruguay at 4, and Iran and New Zealand at 7. MLB action around the league gets going at 4:40 with the Marlins and Phillies, Royals and Nats at 4:45. Late games in the league, we'll see the Pirates and the A's at 7:40 and the Rays and Dodgers at 8 o'clock. News from around the sporting world is the Chicago Bulls are set to name Thiago Splitter, who spent last season as Portland's interim head coach, as their new head coach following parting ways with Billy Donovan, and George Pickens has reported to Cowboys mandatory minicamp. I'm Declan Krueger. This is Minute Sports 1440 up.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The best way to experience Elks football is being there when it happens. From single game to flex packs, group tickets, and family packs. Your seats, your way. Ticket packs available now at goelks.com/tickets. Edmonton Elks. Our city, our year.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780-all-7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Just in time for the big game. Score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy more, save more. Up to $1,000 off select major appliances. Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Get the lowdown with Lowetide. Weekdays from noon to 2 on Sports 1440. He's seen it all and then some. From stats to stories, he breaks it down like no one else. Proud to be Edmonton's sports leader. Sports 1440.
Guys, there never seems to be enough time in the day, but you need to make time for this. Ken Franchek here. If you're 40 or over, a quick PSA blood test is crucial for early prostate cancer detection. The Prostate Cancer Center's Man Van is a mobile health clinic driving change for men's health. A few minutes could save your life. To get the Man Van out to your business or event, book today at getcheck.ca.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
Tired of the rough ride? Alberta used to be a leader in highway planning and construction, but years of neglect and cuts to maintenance are showing. You can see it, and your vehicle is feeling it. Infrastructure can last for years with a little TLC, but when repairs are deferred, minor issues become major reconstruction. We need action and a reliable capital plan. Contact your MLA and demand stable infrastructure funding. Find out how at fixourroads.com.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
Here's the lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Trade in an eligible pickup and receive $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. You played Fats Domino. My mom had Fats Domino records. Blueberry Hill, Ain't That a Shame. You played Blue Monday. Wonderful artist. Piano player. That's the good stuff. That's the original rock and roll, like late 1950s, before any of us were born. Chris and Sylvan, why has nobody figured out that Nurse has $6 million signing bonus on July 1? He doesn't get moved till July 2nd. By doing so, the acquiring team will only pay Nurse in actual cash dollars, 5.8 over the remaining 4 years. San Jose makes the most sense. Yeah, I get that. I understand it, but I also think that there's an urgency here for the coach. Now, the Nurse trade can happen anytime. A team like San Jose might be more where they are very money conscious. But I think that if you're dealing cap money away and you're a team that wants Darnell Nurse, the trade could happen beforehand. But it's a good point you make. I think the coach happens this week, though. We'll talk to Jason coming up at about 20 after 1, get his input on it. Nuge isn't physical enough to be a third-line center. Well, here is, if you would allow me, I will give you my feeling on the issue. We thank the CBC for the proper pronunciation of issue. I think the hard minutes line should be Leon Draisaitl, Podkolzin, and probably Kasperi Kapanen, depending upon how much he wants. That should be your, when they say checking line, there aren't any. But your hard minutes line, I think it should be Leon. Leon is the big man. Leon is the guy that everybody has a hell of a time with because he can stick that ass out and you're not going to get the puck from him. You're just not. And then you freewheel with McDavid. He'll play tough minutes because the other team will match for him, but he'll also get a little bit more clean air because Leon is coming up. And then the Nuge line, I really think it could be one that could mentor a youngster like Ike Howard. You play them against the soft minutes. Nuge has never played third line center against the soft parade. There is that element. And then one of the keys to being able to do that is your fourth line. You put Doc with Frederick. They played very well together. I think Szymanski is certainly a candidate for the number 4 center. Maybe they get a right-handed guy like Owen Michaels or trade for one or sign one. But I think the Nuge third line could be an outscoring line, and they get, offensive zone starts. They get like a lot of opportunity to impact the offense. And you're asking Leon to play the Barkov role. You're asking Leon to play the William Karlsson role. You're asking Leon to take on the toughs and the tough sledding and the zone starts. And I know that does something to his offense. I understand it. But Leon is a different kind of player. He is high skill, but he is also like fundamentally a pain in the ass, and he's big. He checks all the boxes for a complete center in the National Hockey League. That's what I do. And he'd get more Selke votes too if they did that. And then Nuge is free and clear. Nuge is not a big man. He's highly skilled. He can penalty kill, power play, and play soft minutes on the third line. He doesn't make so much that you can't do that. That's a pretty valuable player. Billy says, I think the club should have been a priority.
So here's the thing. I would have loved to have taken my golf clubs with me, and I stared at them for a good minute going, can I take these with me? But the people that were giving me a ride were very nice, and they had all their own bags and things, and I hate to make generalizations, but they're both ladies, and so there was a lot of baggage in the car.
Wow!
For a singular
helped
weekend,
you, and now you're throwing them.
No.
Hey,
listen, they are lovely. Lots of friends. They're very friendly.
Sacrificed because I wasn't going to make them move their bags and bags and bags of stuff.
There was a lot of stuff in that car for a 2-day weekend.
Completely under the bus.
And then, I had my car is what holds my life, basically. So I had my work stuff and some other things that were just in there along with my bag. And I was like, all right, well, I got to take this and that and the other thing. Golf clubs are not a small object.
No, they're big and they're clumsy.
So I was just like, yes, these are staying in the trunk.
Did you tell your parents that this had happened?
First phone call was my mom.
There you go.
Second phone call was my best friend.
There you
Because
go.
I was pretty sure he was going to have to come pick me up from white court.
But you let people know. You let,
I
you
let
important
people know.
where you are, because then they don't worry about you because they know you've got your brain parts working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. West End Juan, Lowetide. You're too much in love with RNH. I always love this when people don't agree with you. So they start, you're in love with RNH. RNH is a wonderful player. He's not the player he was, but he's a wonderful player. Should be on the fourth line, power play, PK time. Last two Stanley Cup winners had big, bruising third line centers. West End Juan. Well, I think the fourth lines on both Vegas and Carolina were a load. And I think the Oilers' fourth line will be a load under Mike Babcock. I'm assuming Mike Babcock's the coach. Until further notice, I'm just planning the roster like Mike Babcock. And I think Mike Babcock will appreciate Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's got a lot of utility. You know, he's not the scorer that you can put on the McDavid line right away or all the time. But let's say Savoy gets hurt. Nuge could slide up there. He's a good guy to have around. He's a part of the heart and soul of the team. I don't know why there's so many people. But Mr. LT, does Mike Babcock have no shame? Is he willing to come back and face public scrutiny and answer the endless amount of questions from Bob? Well, if he wasn't, then he wouldn't have pursued the job to this point. All he had to do was say, I don't want to. You know, it's a free world. Babcock is interested in coaching the Edmonton Oilers. And Babcock has I think, been pretty consistent in his verbal about what happened. And so I think at some level there's a sense that he feels he'll go business as usual. So Nurse made $9.25 million, not his fault. Never missed a game, provided grit, and would fight anybody. Nurse not only played many games, but also $22.5 million, 22.5 minutes to 35 minutes if he had to. We ran the wrong guy. From Billy. Billy, I've said all along that, you know, and I know Gregor has too. There's a danger here. You got two guys who are a little bit injury prone on the left side, and you have Nurse who just shows up and plays however many minutes you want to. What do you need? Okay, I got that. You know, they need to get a lot for him, because I think that the team getting him is going to be able to use him effectively. If you count the number of games Nurse played without a legit primo partner, it's a lot. And when he played with somebody like Evan Bouchard, the results were excellent. So I think Nurse is, in a way, I'm glad he's going to get another opportunity, because he should play for fans who are on his side. And I think in some cases that wasn't the case here in Edmonton. And I think he'll do well. But I also think, like, if he goes to Pittsburgh, you know Dubas is going to give him a legit bona fide pairing on the right side. That's going to happen. People are talking about Babcock and his character. How many chances do you get? How many times is enough? These are all interesting questions, but as far as I can see, it's asked and answered. Chris Johnston, who is as connected as anybody, he said that he's talked to people. It's his belief that Mike Babcock will get the chance. So I'm not trying to be contrarian. I'm not going to invest time and waste time in talking about whether or not he wants the job. Jason can do that if he wishes. I think we talked about that all last week, came to no conclusion. Johnston, after my show on Friday, said, hey, I've talked to people and I think he's going to be able to coach. So I'm going to pursue that. I'm going to talk about it as if Babcock's the next coach. And there are players that I think, Tristan Jarry, Jack Roslovic, those, and I think Jake Wallman, although Wallman, when he's healthy, I think he'll be fine. Those are players that anybody who's a little bit, younger is going to have a difficult time. I think Ike Howard may get moved, not because he's not a great player or a great young player, but simply because he is not experienced and he's not, focused on what we saw last night, which was the Carolina Hurricanes suffocating Vegas Golden Knights. How many great Vegas Golden Knights players had a great game last night? Did Eichel? Did Marner? there are a lot of great players on the ice that didn't have a great game. And you can blame those players if you want, and that's fine. But I think some credit should go to the Carolina Hurricanes. Also, wouldn't Hyman on line 3 add a cheaper big right winger to play with 97 and 22? Well, but what did we see last night in Carolina? Hall wasn't playing with the top center and the top right winger. They marble their roster. So there's a very good offensive player on every line. There's some responsibility on every line. There's youth and experience mixed together. That's how their roster looks. That's how they build it because that's what they want. And then they do roll. I mean, one of the chief complaints of Rod the Bod is that he doesn't play his stars enough. Well, he doesn't because everybody has to play balls out, and absolutely every shift means the world. And so he's not going to overtire his top forwards. And we know what that looks like. So I just think they built a better mousetrap in Carolina. And maybe the Oilers should try to copy the mousetrap or buy one at, where do you buy your mousetraps? Canadian Tire?
Yeah, when I bought them, I got them at Walmart because that's what was closest to my apartment at the time.
We ordered some online, and my God, they work.
Yeah, they work. They were gangbusters. It took a while for me to get that mouse, but I got them. Old house. Old house.
We are invading their territory, just so everybody knows.
So when I was at Nate, and I had there's some old bag of chips on the ground or something, and I heard it get hit. I'm like, what? That must have been nothing. And then out of the corner of my eye, I caught that little bastard running across the wall. I was like, oh no. So I slept in my house with no heat for 3 days trying to ice him out. It was tough, but and I had mouse traps everywhere, but we got him before he could breed, I guess. I don't know. I never saw another one after that.
This could be an Edgar Allan Potato short story.
Yeah.
Yeah. LT, if you play Nuge with Howard, you'll need a big winger on the other side from Dunner. Yeah, like Carolina last night. Notice how many big guys they had? Oh, no, they didn't. But they could all skate, and they could all check and forecheck and haul ass if they were behind. I'm not saying big players can't play. I love Doc, for instance. But foot speed, attention to detail, and devotion to interfering with the puck possession, altering the course of the puck, getting the puck turned over, that's the game. That's the whole game. Daryl Sutter said it so well. He said, a lot of people think you play defense. You don't play defense anymore. If you're playing defense, the puck ends up in the net. You take a penalty or it's puck over glass. What you want is possession. If you don't have possession, you got to get possession. And you have to get possession right away, which is at the other end of the ice when they have the puck in their own zone. So contest everything. Do your absolute best to get your stick in the way, get your body in the way, make it difficult for them. That's what we saw last night. And actual height didn't have a lot to do with it. Carolina's not a big team, but guess what? They're all getting Stanley Cup rings. On the way, Jason Gregor. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
What a deserving Stanley Cup champion the Carolina Hurricanes are. One of the best teams in the regular season and a brilliant playoff performance. And they're going to clinch it appropriately with a total team effort and a shutout. The Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup for the second time. Eight years of Rod Brindamore and the Carolina. Knights to Wemby. Wemby tries a three, puts it up, off the mark. Anunoby the rebound. It's over. It's over. Nick fans, this is not a dream. Your long, long wait has ended. Go ahead and cry. After 53 years, the Knicks are finally NBA champions once again.
No, it's just like he's trying to knock. That's it. And that'll do it. That's it. He's done. With the ultimate career capstone at the Wolves. He retired on his stool. Oh my goodness. Ilya Topuria's brother trying to say we're
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. 19 minutes after 1 o'clock. It is time for our headliner of the day. Brought to you by Faber.ca. Cash Flow Crunch got your business on the sidelines? Schedule your free consultation with Faber's licensed insolvency trustees and get back in the game. Visit Faber, Faber.ca. That's Faber.ca. Joined now by our friend Jason Krueger from the Jason Krueger Show, which comes up at 2 o'clock. How was your weekend, sir?
Al, it was good. It was lots of fun. Our ball hockey team, first ever championship. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah. It's good time. It's always good to see the kids get fired up.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What they called the Hurricanes? Everybody named the Hurricanes one on the weekend.
No, we were black jerseys. We were the Phantoms.
Ah, nice. Nice. Yeah. That's very cool. That's a great name, and black's always good. Okay, let's start with the Carolina Hurricanes winning in 6. The Stanley Cup is theirs. Boy, they had a hell of a playoff run, Jason.
Well, to win in the playoffs, obviously you need a good team and you need good health. And, because outside of Freddie Anderson, who, historically is always banged up, so it's not a surprise to me that he got banged up there in he said in game 2 afterwards, and then obviously left game 3. And, give Brandon Bussey credit. He came in, he played really well. But, the key, Al, is that, hey, if you can have shorter series, you get a week off between every series, that can make it a lot less stressful on the body. And, they had contributions. They had one line really going with the Hall, Stankoven, Blake line. And then, Jordan Staal, I get it, everybody, hey, analytics. I'm like, I can tell you there is zero analytics study that's going to show you that Jordan Staal is going to score 6 goals in the first 5 games of the Stanley Cup final, right? Like, no chance on that. So, in order to win, you need some luck, you need some skill, you need some health, and you need a good team, and they had all 4 of them coming together.
Well, and Vegas, speaking of luck, they had a hell of a lot of goalposts in the series, but also in Game 5. One of those goes in. Yep. It's a little different story, right?
So, well, man,
the fine line between winning and losing in the Cup final most years, like there's the odd year. Like I remember when Colorado spanked Florida in 4 straight in '96. Like that wasn't even close, right? But there's lots of times where it's a fortuitous bounce sometime in a game that goes your way, and it doesn't. Like even you go back to last series, if Nick Suzuki scores on the breakaway early in overtime, it's 2-2 now. Who knows who wins the series? I still maybe think Carolina, but maybe you extend it and it's an extra game or 2 extra games, and all that stuff matters. And Carolina's best asset was they closed out series early when they had a chance, and I think that paid dividends later on. There was zero fatigue in that team, right? They didn't play 20 games. They only played 19 games, and which I think is like the third fewest since they've gone to or second fewest since they've gone to the 4 rounds of 7. So that is a massive advantage for Carolina, and they did it by winning. Like they earned it. Like you get lucky breaks, you win every 3-2 game in overtime. That's obviously going to help.
So, there's not a lot of time here between now and the draft, and Oilers fans are antsy about the coaching situation. Do you think that the Oilers will like if Babcock gets cleared, he's their coach? Any regrets? Should Vegas say, "Oh, now you can talk to Cassidy," or is that in your opinion, has that bird flown?
That's a really good question, Al. They obviously had interest in Cassidy to interview him anyway, and they'd like to, but I'm sure if anything, you'd like options, right? Like my thoughts on the Babcock thing, Al. Like it's not as cut and dry as people think here. Like this guy's got a 20-year-old resume that's filled with a lot of transgressions for players and staff and not treating people very well. Like this is not made up things. These aren't rumors. These are things where you have lots of players on record, and lots of other players have reached out and talked about it. It's not a one-off. So if you bring him in, it's a massive risk with no history of it ever changing. That's the thing, right? Like there's no history that shows, okay, you know what, God, I realized like, man, I was way off base. Never seen it. You've never heard anything to suggest that that's where it's going. So you bring him in here. Why does anybody believe that it's going to be different? Because he says so? Well, he said it'd be different in Columbus. So, and he never even got the opportunity to try it during the season. So I'm very hesitant to think that suddenly it would change. Maybe, but you got to see it to believe it.
And it's you're as an organization, you don't want to bring in a coach who comes in and is for a couple of years, and then you have 5 years or so of stories about what was happening when he was here. And that's the thing I worry about, honestly, is that because if they win the Stanley Cup, but 2 or 3 players suffer from the experience, then I don't know that that's a trade that is worthwhile for the organization.
Well, it's not even about winning the Cup, Al. Like this guy hasn't won a playoff series since 2013. Like and if you actually go look at Toronto and you look at, if you want to talk analytics, go look at Toronto's analytics. They weren't off the charts great. They weren't a dominant 5-on-5
Well,
team.
they got great goaltending, but that was Anderson played really well, but that was the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So their possession numbers weren't off the charts by any stretch of the imagination. And let's be honest here. It doesn't matter who runs the power play. It's the players on the power play, right? Like, and that's not a knock on McFarland. I think Galton helped build it, but like David and Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins and Bouchard, like their confidence and skill level on the power play, I don't think is like last year they had a little bit of a dip, not this past season, but the year before, right? And it was still good, but like it's hard to be 30% every year. Like I think you kind of take it for granted in Edmonton, but like the penalty kill has been a problem here, so maybe they'll fix that. But 5-on-5 play is a concern, and how are you going to use the players? And I've had a few people reach out to me that there's definitely some concerns, and it's not from guys at the top of that lineup because they've never been the victims of his bullying and attacking. It's people down the lineup. So you and people are like, oh, why are you worried about it? Well, he hasn't had success, and he's had that. Like, why do you think it's going to be great? Because he won a cup in 2008. Like, I don't really understand that.
It's interesting to me, and my next question is, does the Nurse trade happen before the coach? And I understand, if you're locked and loaded on Babcock, or you feel like you have a deal that gets you some cap room, you would make that. But at some point in time soon, hopefully before the draft, they would have that coach in place, or at least know who it's going to be.
In an ideal world, yes, I think you want like the draft, not as much. And I've talked to, a few people around the league in positions, and they're to say, hey, like, is it nice to have your coach there? Yes, but it's not for the draft itself. The coaches, they don't know any of the drafted players. Like, they're in the NHL. They're focusing on that. And most of the good coaches will be like, dude, I'm staying in my lane. It's not my lane to try to, oh, look, I watched film on this young 17-year-old. So now I'm going to tell you, what he's going to be. That's not their forte. So most of them don't care, but we do have lots of trades around the draft.
Yeah.
And so that's where, you'd like to know if a coach likes a player, if he doesn't like a player, how does he view the player? So you would, in an ideal world, yes, you'd like him in place by next Friday.
Do you sense the things that we talked about as needs? Obviously goaltender. You want to sign Connor Murphy, third line center. Although Dickinson might be too expensive, but you have Nuge hanging around. Those things won't change though with the new coach.
No,
right?
I think the areas of the team, and like I've said before, I don't believe the orders are that far off. Look at Carolina. Everybody's raving about Carolina. Look what they built. They couldn't win a game in the third round for 8 years. Do you guys all magically forget that? Like, the Oilers have been at 2 Stanley Cup finals. They're not a crap team, and they're not suddenly old. Jordan Stahl's the oldest player ever to win the Conn Smythe. Stop with all these narratives. Oh, they're getting old. Like, do you guys watch the games? Like, there's no guarantee. All I know is when you got McDavid and Draisaitl and Bouchard, and if they're healthy, you got a decent core base. Now, you got to fill around there. There's no question about it. But to suggest that the Oilers couldn't get back to a conference final or a Stanley Cup final in the next few years, to me and that they need massive changes, I think is somewhat legit. But the organization itself at times, Al, is looking at like, oh my God, like I said it, I wrote it 2 days after the season. The number one thing this organization does need to do is panic. And it seems like it's been panic mode ever since the season ended.
Yeah. The thing I get back to with this team is the top end talent is terrific. And I'll give Stan Bowman credit here. Doc looks like a player. I know it's a fourth line guy, but it's a guy you can use with Fred. He woke Frederick up like he did. Now that's a fourth line you could use. And if you have Nuge on the third line, then you're starting to cook a little bit there. My question is for you, if you end up with, say, Draisaitl with Podkolzin and maybe Kapanen and maybe somebody else, McDavid line with Savoy and Hyman, I don't know that Ike Howard fits on the third line. I'm not trying to be disrespectful of him. He's a fine young player. But I think you might want a more veteran guy there. And if you do you contemplate moving Howard out and bringing in a more veteran guy?
I wouldn't. I think having some youthful exuberance is good. Some youthful naivety, I think is a good thing. He's also the Oilers don't have a shooter yet.
No, and he does
so
shoot.
I think he might be the potential for the best pure shooter. And the other thing is, that's what the regular season's for. They don't need their starting lineup every role set. Taylor Hall played fourth line, first line, third line, second line, all throughout the year, different places, right? Until they found kind of the right spot and the chemistry for guys to work. And now that's just one team, but lots of teams. It's not like every line is set stone cold mortal lock, right? Like. Look at what happened in the playoffs here. Jordan Stahl just scored in the Stanley Cup final 6 goals in the first 5 games. The guy had 2 playoff goals in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
His highest career total in any full playoffs was 6, and he just did 6 in the Stanley Cup final. Brett Howden just scored 14 goals for Vegas, right? Like there's always going to be some things that you don't predict, and nothing that any analytics data sheet tells you, any eye test tells you. There's always things that are unexpected. So I can't say I'm not going to get, I think, pushed in a box to say Howard can only do this, right? Maybe Howard starts in your first line for 20 games and then he goes down because he's got to play some lesser competition to regain his confidence. And you know what? If you have 8 to 9 forwards that are skilled in a variety of different skills, right? Like Jordan Martinuk's not a big scorer,
no,
by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a penalty killer. He's a valuable player in their top 9. And he's gone on runs too before where he moves up. Yeah. I think they need versatile players who can play in different areas. And I'm not sold. Their third line in today's NHL doesn't need to be a bang and crash line, right? If you can skate, be responsible defensively, and have the smarts to play with different players. Because look what happened when Draisaitl went out. Other guys got some and they played pretty well.
Yeah, they did.
So I think Edmonton still has enough skill for me. I think they need a little bit more will at times, and they definitely need a better penalty kill. And they need guys who are willing to commit defensive hockey, starting from the defense to the fours and their puck management. That, to me, was their biggest downfall throughout the year. At times when you watched, they still would gift goals better than most teams out, right? Have possession. Oh, boom, here's a turnover. Now it's a 3-on-1.
Yeah.
That was what killed them.
Yeah, it was. They signed Murphy. Are you comfortable with Wallman Murphy if everybody's healthy?
But I thought Murphy was exactly what you need. An defensive-minded player. You know what? Decent abilities to move the puck. Like, he's not just a off the glass and out guy. Like, he can move the puck okay, but obviously, you can play him with someone else. Jake Wallman's obviously a better puck transporter, better puck mover. So in theory, it works. Jake Wallman's going to have to show me that, he can play not every game, but the majority of games. He's got to find a way to be more available, right?
Yeah.
When his skill set's there and he's in the lineup most nights, he can be a positive influence on the game. I think he has to find a way. Now, the off season with no injuries and everybody training, there's no reason for him not to come into tip-top shape. And I know that last year, due to injuries and such, he didn't come to camp and so was playing catch-up. It's harder, and it's even harder now, Al. There's only 2 preseason games for veterans.
I know.
Right?
Much.
There's only 2. So, which I get why. Like, these guys, the players who are committed, unless you're coming off an injury, usually come in great shape.
Yeah. I like Ty Emberson. I like him as a player. I want him on this team. I think he can. I don't know if he can play second pair, but he can play third pair. But I also would like Vincent Desharnais on the team. He's a great penalty killer, and he's tough. Like, he is mean.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you do that, but
well, he's a free agent. So now it's funny. I'm sure Vinny, if you gave him some true serum, he turned down a 4-year deal by the Oilers at $2 million a year, and then he signed a 2-year deal at $2 million a year for Vancouver.
Damn.
Because the agent thought he was going to get more. It's always a risk. Now, cap was flatter back then than it is now. So that changes. And, Vinny's got 2 more years of NHL experience. But, you look at it, when you have an organization that likes you and that and there's a trust now, it's a different coach. So that is a factor here for him. But yeah, I'd have lots of time for Vinny Desharnais coming back to Edmonton, no question.
I just feel like there's a mean streak there. Murphy has it too.
Oh, Murphy has it. Murphy has it. And Murphy's willingness to fight probably more than he should. I give him credit for it, but he plays a physical game. He's engaged. He brings emotion. And if you're losing Darnell Nurse, you need some sort of physical element. Like, I know Delorier didn't play a ton in the playoffs for Carolina, but he played in the regular season. And having those guys around, like Doc brings some grit and nastiness, and he'll piss you off. And Frederick can do it. So you don't need like a massive heavyweight, like unless you had Olivier who can play. I'd take him all day long on my team. Yeah. But I do think you need some like Darnell Nurse. Still, last 4 years is top 15 in hits amongst defensemen, right? He's top 10 in ice time. Like, he does some things. Like, there's things he does that frustrate you, no question.
Yeah.
Right. Like his processing of the game at times is not where you'd like it to be. I think that's fair, but there's still lots of elements he does that you have to replace. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's an Alexiak potential, but he's more of a third pair guy, which is fine. But if he's in my third pair, then, I feel pretty good that he got a penalty killer and a big body. And if the game gets a little nasty, which can happen in the regular season, you've got guys where you feel comfortable pushing back.
Yeah. It's, we're a long way to go. We're just starting out here. Do you think we get any news this week, either coaching or maybe a Nurse trade?
The Nurse trade, I think, is probably closer to the draft, to be honest, or even the week of the draft and free agency. That would be my guess. Obviously, it could happen sooner. Now that the Cup's over, everybody's involved now. There'll be some conversations. Not that Vegas couldn't have had conversations beforehand, but I think everything, speeds up here a little bit. What do we got? 36 hours now, Al, till the first buyout window opens. Although nowadays, I'm not sure there's going to be a ton of buyouts.
I agree with you.
There might be some, teams. Now there is way more cap space, so you might be able to say, hey, you know what? If I buy out a guy at $6 million and it's only costing me 2.5 or depending on the buyout, some teams might do it, right? So like Aiden Hill's a fascinating one for me in Vegas, although goaltending, someone might trade him, right? And you're probably better off to retain salary than buy him out when it comes to cap savings. So some of those type of moves could occur, but a coach, this investigation from the NHL, like I've talked to a few people and I can't, no one seems to know what the timeline's going to be.
Yeah. It's kind of, well, it's silly, but I mean, I still go back to Gary not stepping in and making Vegas,
but he can't though. Like there's no legal ramifications of them doing anything wrong.
Yeah. I guess the contract should have been written differently. How about the NBA final? Knicks win. New York doesn't burn down, man.
Oh, well, you know what? I was doing the math over the weekend. I'm like, so let's say, because when something bad happens like that, like you're in a city of 15 million people.
Yeah.
So let's say 10,000 were real idiots and did something. That's still only 0.0003% of the population. Like it's so small, right? But it would look big and everybody would see social media and be like, oh, there's a lot of idiots. I'm like, no, there isn't. There's it's almost like everybody's good. It's like 99.999% of people are good. And then there's a few dorks. So I'm happy that nothing really bad happened. The Knicks, what a Cinderella run, man. Like,
oh man,
how many times they trailed in every quarter, the first quarter, every game by at least 8 points. They were, the games were tied or San Antonio was leading the last 4 minutes and they lost, right? Like that was a stunning inability to hold on to leads and a stunning ability by New York to never quit. Like they had a lot of faith. Hey, we get into crunch time, we can win. And maybe we shouldn't be surprised because everybody saw the numbers of Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter, but it was the whole team. And they just had we're not going to panic when things go poor, even if we're getting spanked by 29 points. They just had this belief in them to come back. And the Spurs, I see a lot of people like, oh, they choked. I'm like, guys, they're extremely young, right? They're very like OG Anunoby's won before, even though he didn't play in the final because of appendicitis, but he'd been in the first 3 rounds, right? He was there. Brunson's been through the playoff. They've had other guys, they're older. You have 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds and 22-year-olds, and they're all very good. Yeah. Like I like Harper, and obviously, like how can you not like Wemby and Cassell? They got a really good team for the future, but New York just played better at crunch time, and so give them credit. The 53-year drought is over. Al, I tweeted out. There's still lots of teams around the league and in all the sports that have lengthy droughts. The Guardians obviously have the longest one, and it's the longest in the NHL is 59 years by Toronto. Vancouver and Buffalo are 55. And I think Philly's 50. Those are the top 4 in the 50s. And there's quite a few franchises, man, across the major 4 sports that you're a fan base that, hey, you don't take it for granted because there's no guarantee that like you always assume that they'll be back. Just because you get back doesn't mean you're going to win. Like winning's hard. So good for the Knicks.
Final one, is every CFL quarterback going to the Hall of Fame, or does it just look like it? These guys are playing lights out, man.
Yeah, well, Alexander, hey, good for the Elks, man. You got a big test here. I know they're fired up. They got a little confidence, like not overconfident by any stretch. They won 1 game, but there's a little belief building in Edmonton. There'd be nothing better than to give Alexander, if you're a member of the Green and Gold, his first ever regular season loss.
Nice.
Right? Like, which is kind of crazy. I think he's never lost. He's 13-0 since coming in as a starter. And, there are some exciting games. That BC Saskatchewan game, like you talk about the great plays by Harris, but there's one throw. He had a wide open receiver in the end zone, overthrew him, and they've settled, and that's kind of costing the game. Really, it was that close of a game, but that game was awesome. Like BC and
they were thrown into coverage too, man. There was some stuff.
We're living up to kind of there's like, what a weekend though. You had Lewis Hamilton winning for the first time. And what about the World Cup, man? Like it was
wild.
Some wild Australia beating Turkey, and then you have Germany just spanking Cote d'Ivoire winning, and it was an awesome weekend for sports, man. And like I'm looking forward to all the matches. Like I love big games. Did you see the Scots?
Yeah.
Right? Like you just see them singing, and you're just like, God, like it's awesome to have pride like that. I think it's fantastic.
It was really good. What's coming up on the show?
Well, Woodley will be by because now, like, okay, we're 2 weeks away from the draft, but it's more so the goalie carousel. Like Freddie Anderson, when you look at his age and you just look at his history of track record of injuries, and you got Kochetkov and you got Bussy under contract for nothing, like I think he's going to be a free agent. So, but how much would you need another goalie?
He's a hell of a goalie.
Yeah, but you need another goalie if you want Freddie Anderson, because history will tell you at some point he's going to get banged up, right?
No.
Like just at some point, and he had one of the smoothest runs because of rest. A week here, play 4 games, get it. You don't get that very often.
No.
So, what are they going to do with Aiden Hill? There's Buffalo. What are they going to do? There's lots. What's happening with goalie Bob? And, so the orders, what are they going to do? So lots of goaltending talk. We'll talk a little, we'll recap, of course, the Stanley Cup. Or we'll talk a little football. I think this is, I'm excited for the week.
Oh, it's going to be good.
And of course, World Cup, we'll recap it because it was wild. So, man, we won't have enough time to get through everything. I love it. This is the time of year. There's so much going on in sports. It's awesome.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Jason.
Have a good one, Al.
All right. Jason Krueger, live on the radio at 2:00 today. You heard the menu, talking a lot of sports, a lot of Oilers, obviously, Stanley Cup, Elks, and more straight ahead. Just ahead, it's Declinations, Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact, because our team is built on second chances, and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Krueger for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
Looking for a truck that can handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
Alberta is growing, but our highways are crumbling. Are you tired of the rough ride? In the last 15 years, our population has grown with hundreds of thousands more cars and trucks on our highways. Today, more than 15% of Alberta's highways are in poor condition. Cutting highway maintenance doesn't save money. It makes repairs more expensive. Don't let the government ignore the problem. Your MLA works for you. Tell them to fix our roads. Visit fixourroads.com for more information.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
Save big this summer on Crave. Right now, get 40% off with a premium annual plan and stream the romantic blockbuster, Wuthering Heights. New season of the reality TV sensation, Love Island USA.
Pretty hot over here.
And June 21st, the epic HBO original returns, House of the Dragon.
This is the moment you become queen.
Plus, select live FIFA World Cup matches. Get 40% off with a premium annual plan for your first year. Offer ends July 20th. Visit crave.ca/subscribe.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Whoa. This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. We're proud to have them as our sponsor, and we love playing the ABBA. I understand there are rock and roll bands that you love and cherish and you think moved the world, but I ask you, have any of them made people happier singing along than ABBA? Man, that's the good stuff. All right. Speaking of making people happy, it's time for Declinations, brought to you by the Edmonton Elks. The Edmonton Elks home opener is coming up this weekend, June 20th. It's going to be big. Lock in your tickets. GoElks.com/tickets. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Declan Krueger.
Yes, what an event this past weekend. UFC Freedom 250. Kind of a crazy name, but first card ever to feature all finishes, all fights to end by knockout. Granted, there were only 7 fights. Insane stuff. Main event, Justin Gaethje, Ilia Topuria. Justin Gaethje walks away. It's corner stoppage at the end of the 4th round. Ilia's team stops it while Ilia's on the stool. One of the bigger upsets we've seen in the UFC. It's not along the lines of like a Sarah GSP or a Pena Nunes or Holm Rousey or anything like that. But this was a guy in Ilia Topuria who is such a crisp, clean, technical boxer. Starched Charles Oliveira in round 1. He had arguably had the most impressive 3-fight streak in UFC history, knocking out Volkanovski, Holloway, and Charles Oliveira in succession. So no one really gave Justin Gaethje a chance. He's a brawler who kind of puts his head forward. He puts himself in these wars. He creates car crashes. And everyone kind of thought like Ilia Topuria is going to be able to handle him pretty swiftly. But in this fight, so the first thing was Ilia looked quite small. Like he is a natural featherweight. He is was the lightweight champion, but he's a natural featherweight, had campaigned in the featherweight division. He looked quite small. Like it noticeably looked like a featherweight versus a lightweight. That was the biggest thing. Ilia also starts when he's fresh, he's very, very dangerous because he's very, very fast. He's very, very powerful. He's very, very crisp. But one thing he would do is he's so much smaller than Justin Gaethje that every time he tried to enter the pocket, Justin Gaethje would just jab him. And these jabs beat up Ilia very quickly and kept him at distance. And Justin, he's funny because he has crazy power. Everyone who's fought him says he's one of the most powerful guys they've fought, but he doesn't really turn his punches over that well. So but he still hits with hammers. In first round, he's picking Ilia apart a little bit with the jab. Close round, they have a good exchange at the end of the first, but Justin clearly wins it, I think. Second round, Ilia starts just digging to the body, and he gets in the pocket where he was trying to get to and just starts ripping Justin Gaethje to the liver, ripping him to the body. Really crisp, really clean looking body shots. Has an effect on Justin, ends up essentially knocking Justin Gaethje down with these body shots. And then kind of gets on top of him, tries to submit him. He mounts him, can't get the finish. But near the end of the second round, looks like he's taking a noticeable break. And really what he should have probably done is stand up, let Justin get back up as well. With the fight on the feet, would have, had a chance to finish him. Fight goes into the third round, and it's the most gassed I've ever seen Ilia look. Justin, from that point on, starts to take over, and he is just kind of landing at will on Ilia. It's the same thing. Like Ilia, he starts to look quite gun shy. He doesn't have nearly the quickness or the pop on his punches he had in the first round. He's looking like he's finally felt the power of, he's finally fought a guy whose power can keep Ilia off them. Like, he's fought some guys, but he kind of marches forward, walks through their power. Justin was the first guy who made him pause, made him think about coming in kind of recklessly and wanting to just get in these exchanges. Picks him apart. It goes at the end of the third round, where Justin has just to this point completely battered Ilia's face. And by the way, anyone watching this can't believe what they're watching. Like, no one thinks this is going to be the result we're going to see in this fight, but it's what ends up happening. End of the third round, they bring the doctor in because Ilia's face is busted up. It looks like his right eye is closed. They bring the doctor out to do some tests to see if Ilia can see. The doctor says this fight can't go on. The doctor tries to stop the fight at the end of the third round, but the referee overrules the doctor and says, no, I'm going to let him go out there for the fourth round. Fourth round, some people talked about it being close, like it was potentially 2-2 going into the fifth. I thought it was clearly 3-1 for Justin, as did all three judges. Fourth round, at the end of the fourth round, or in the fourth, I think it was in the fourth round, it was either the third or the fourth, he drops Ilia with, again, he doesn't turn the punch over, but it's a crisp right hand, like clocking right hand, probably breaks Ilia's orbital. At the end of the fourth, he's curled up, he's like He's turtled. Justin Gaethje knees him to the body. He's just kind of sitting there in survival mode. The round ends, and Ilya's corner stops it. He quits while he's on the stool. He says, no Moss, essentially. And Justin Gaethje, in the most unlikely of ways, becomes the UFC lightweight champion. And I can't reiterate enough how crazy of a result this is. Like, this is a guy who was supposed to be a tailor-made matchup for Ilia Topuria, who he was going to absolutely walk right through. And he couldn't do it. He didn't have the ability to, because Justin was the bigger guy with power he had never felt before. And he just took his time. He fought a smart fight, which isn't something Justin always does. Like I said, he kind of creates those car crashes and ended up getting Ilia to quit on the stool. A most unexpected result. And I would now like to see Justin retire, as I think many do, because he's been in wars. He's took some damage. He's lost some brain cells. And he now finally has his crowning achievement. This was his 5th title fight. Had never been undisputed champion. He's finally reached the mountain. Unbelievable story. Can't think of a guy who deserves it more. And a humbling experience for Ilia Topuria.
If he keeps losing brain cells, he may qualify for radio.
He might. I don't think I don't think he'd be the best at it. I think fighting is probably more his bread and butter. Right. The other one, Alex Pereira, was trying to be the first man or woman in UFC history to win a world title in 3 different divisions. He went out there and got stopped by Cyril Gane in the 2nd round. His problem has always been he moves back on a straight line and he doesn't move his head. And Cyril Gane was just, listen, he was a former middleweight. He was a big middleweight, obviously became the light heavyweight champion, but heavyweight is just another step up. It was too much for him. Cyril Gane didn't ever look phased and made it look relatively easy.
All right. Okay, so it was an adventurous weekend. We blew up a car on the highway coming back from Peace River. We apologized to Lowetide. I mean, that was a shocker to me. And we had a lot of fun. And we are no farther ahead on the orders, but the season is over, and that means they can make a trade. Maybe they'll make a trade during the Krueger show. Stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. If you're looking for a home in the Edmonton area, you can call or text Sean 780-265-0165. FIFA World Cup soccer action right now, currently 1-0. Egypt over Belgium at halftime. One result from earlier today was Spain and Cabo Verde, an island nation of just 500,000 people, drawing 0-0. We'll see Saudi Arabia and Uruguay at 4 and Iran, New Zealand at 7. MLB action will get going at 4:40 with the Marlins and Phillies, Royals and Nats at 4:45. In the late games in the league, we'll see the Pirates and A's and the Rays and the Dodgers. News from around the sporting world is the Chicago Bulls just had to name Thiago Splitter their next head coach. George Pickens reported to the Cowboys mandatory minicamp. And that'll do it for us. I'm Declan Krueger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West